So I was browsing YouTube a few weeks back, my daughter, and happened across a sort of retro review of the Mattel Intellivision game console, and I was telling her about that game Utopia that was one of the initial titles and sort of precursor to Civilization and SimCity and a bunch of these type of simulation games. And then I showed her videos like this one, sort of reproduced the gameplay, and I was describing it to her, and I said, you know what, I should clone that game as a BBS door for Synchronet. It occurred to me, well, I should probably just ask Gemini or in other AI models, to try to create the game for me. I started a conversation just with this prompt, write a clone of the Intellivision game Utopia for an 80 by 25 ANSI BBS terminal in JavaScript, specifically ECMAScript 5, and the Synchronet JavaScript object model. That's it. And it did give me something that actually worked. So this is that initial script that it wrote for me. And it's only about 300 lines, and it's pretty similar to the original game in concept. This game goes by very quick. If you build everything, I think it'll maybe last a little longer, but it's pretty short. I don't recall there being boats. Oh, yeah, you can build a boat. And I don't know if there's fish, but it's similar in concept. It's single player. It worked right away. I mean, it just used everything that Synchronet provided and this old version of the JavaScript language. It worked. It counts. It has a score, and if everybody dies, the game ends. Very fundamentally basic, but it just right out of the gate, that small prompt I gave it, this is what it created. Now, after a lot of back and forth, it ended up creating something that was much more playable and fun, but I kind of reached a point of diminishing returns where anytime it added something, it would remove something else or add a bug or regress up to a bug that had previously been fixed. So I kind of settled on this version as the last useful version that it provided. And this is the full source. It kind of, I think, was expecting me to be maintaining a separate copy of the source and like merging in its changes or something, but I was just taking the full script. If it gave me a part of the script, I would say, give me the whole thing. Anyway, so this is the last one I consider sort of useful. And it's doing pretty cool random map generation. It came up with its own, idea for, what CP437 glyphs to use for different things, what the menu keys should be. Let me see, it's housing, if you build a house. It's counting down turns, it's got a population counter. I think you need to build farms or something. So is it B for build, F for farms? A lot of this, I changed everything just about, but it kind of looks like the end result game that I've been working on. So I was pretty impressed. And again, like I said, this was Gemini. I tried something similar with Claude and with ChatGPT. I got something that was just black and white, very simple. It wasn't similar to the original game really in many ways. So this was much more close to the original Utopia. And of course, like I said, it's like a door game. It kind of fills the screen and uses very similar style command keys and menus and stuff. So I think Gemini hit the high points right away. And this is actually playable and kind of fun. It isn't doing much here, but let me see. Those are the boats. I don't think they move around. I don't know where the fish are. Oh, there's a fish over there. So if I build one over here, then I guess it'll find that fish. T for trawler. There we go. So yeah, it trawled some fish, and it's we have money. We have a lot of money left. 537 gold, and we can build other things like a school and a bridge. I don't remember what the bridge does in this. I don't think it does anything. Oh, that's a boat. R for bridge. And I don't think it doesn't really serve any purpose in this version of the game. Command center doesn't really do anything. There's a lot of ideas. It had good ideas. It made suggestions for features. It just, every time it added something, it tended to take something previously away. So I kind of just reached a point of frustration and said, you know what, at this point I'll own the code and forget about trying to use AI, maybe as an incremental, but even then I really kind of owned it from that point forward. So that's a storm cloud going across. It looks like a big plus sign. Earlier versions had like boxes that kind of morphed, and it was actually a bug, but it looked pretty cool as a cloud. So you get an idea. This was like that version that it created after basically a day of going back and forth on prompts. And I'll share that entire chat session with you, and you can sense my frustration as it goes along. But how we reached this point, this is entirely AI written at that, what you're looking at right now. All right, so I'll finish that game. All right, so I took that as sort of a working base, and then I created this. So this is not quite a version 1.0, but it's getting close. Synchronet UTOPIA. You can create your own maps. I have, a couple of maps I created. One looks like the original game, similar in layout, so you can see that's kind of similar to the original map. Best I could do with the ANSI graphics. And I also created a map that looks a bit like the Hawaiian Islands here, so the Hawaiian Island chain. That one is pretty hard. So I'll show you the randomly generated, and it does it with some shading. And I've got right now 2 sets of rules, either easy or challenging. Challenging is sort of the built-in default rules. And again, this is randomly generated. Sometimes you get a big contiguous landmass, other times you get a lot of little islands. I recommend sort of starting off with the biggest island, and it tells you right here, welcome to Synchronet UTOPIA, random islands. You're playing with the challenging rules, and you build to claim your homeland. And how you build is by moving this cursor around to a place where you want to build. And there's no mouse support currently, it's just cursor keys, like, that's page up, page down, and the arrow keys, home and end, move around quickly. You can go diagonally if you use the num lock. When you decide where you want to build, you can hit enter or insert or 0 or control V, like all those things bring up the build menu. And then you can pick what you want to build. Now, a villa would be a good thing to start with. That houses people. You start with a population of 5, but you have no place to put them. You see this down here, this 0. So yeah, they'll live, but they'll start dying off and they're getting very unhappy if you don't have a place to house them. The villas house the most. So we'll start with the villa. And you notice that landmass turned green from cyan, and that means that is your homeland. So from the rest of the game, that's your homeland, and that's where you can build. So if I try to build over here, it won't allow me to. So I'll try to build another villa. It says no connection to homeland, and it's suggesting I can build a bridge. So you can do that. You can extend your homeland, and it's also complaining that the youth are uneducated and becoming rebellious. So you want to build a school. So we'll go ahead and do that. Now, you notice I didn't have to bring up the build menu. Most of these keys here are unique, and you can just hit the key. I hit S for school, and V for villa, etc. I think the only one you can't build directly here is the hospital. You have to bring up the build menu, but this tells you the cost of building and sort of the purpose of the different items you can build. The cost and the effectiveness changes with the rules that you're playing by, as well as pretty much everything else in the game. It's all controlled by the rules, including, the weather and other aspects of the game. Again, so this is our homeland, and it starts counting right away. You can pause the counter at any time, Q to pause, or bring up the help, H for help. The game is paused while you're doing these things. So there's a full set of instructions here, which you can read at your leisure. And then as things happen, right, we got news reports and alerts down there in the bottom left. They scroll off. It only shows the last 3 news or announcements. If you want to look at previous news, which are the more important things, you can hit N, and that'll show you the news reports. The alerts just go off. They're not that important necessarily, and if you miss it, sorry. All right, so we're going to start keep an eye on what's happening. So our food is going down, it's pretty steadily, and our population is at 11. So we need to do something to support these people with food. So I'm going to build some crops. Crops are cheap, but they are very fragile. They die pretty quickly, and they're very susceptible to damage from things and too much rain or storms or pirates. Now this ship you see on the bottom left there, that's a merchant that has popped up. It's trying to make its way all the way to the east coast to do trades. It will dock and trade with you if you put a dock near it. So I'm going to go ahead and build a dock here and see if it'll trade with us, and then you can get some money from that. It doesn't have any kind of defenses, so if a pirate ship comes in, it'll definitely attack it and usually, well, pretty much always kill it. So you want to try to protect it. You do that with PT boats. Right now, we don't have enough money for a PT boat. I'm playing by the challenging rules, so we're pretty strapped here. But I can build a trawler. And by default, a trawler is a fishing boat. It's just going to be anchored by default. We want to lift the anchor with L to get it moving around. If you want to keep it still because you want to protect it, or there's fish right there, you can just go over to it and hit L again, and it'll lower the anchor. But we're going to let it search for fish. We're doing kind of stable with our population. It's going to grow, as people do, right? They procreate, and they'll grow faster when you have like a hospital and everybody's happy. There's not too much pollution or whatever. You see these rain clouds coming down every once in a while. That one's coming in now on the east. Those rain clouds always go north to south, and they're important for watering your crops. And if you have animals, it keeps them alive as well. And it can cause some damage, but there's storms that come from the east, and they're usually a lot more damaging. Rain is important for the crops. All right, and if we want to start generating revenue, we want to have some industry. You see there, industry's kind of expensive, 75, but I'll go ahead and build one of those. That'll give us more income for every round. Now you see the round is ticking away there every 2 seconds. It's just showing us like the fractional turns in a round. And like I said, there are 2 seconds a piece by default each turn, so 20 seconds for a round. If you want to speed things up, you can with a plus, or you can slow things down with the minus key. So you can kind of slow down time, and everything slows down. And like I said, you can also pause anytime with the Q key. There's no penalty. Sometimes a lot of things are happening, and you want to slow things down, or you're bored and you want to move it along more quickly. Okay, we got a warning here about health. We don't have a hospital, so I'm going to build one of those. That's going to help our population stay healthy. We have one villa, which houses, I think that's 50 people. You can probably times these numbers by 1,000 or something if you want a realistic simulation, but we're doing okay. And I think the industry and the hospital and the school, they house a little bit too. And the dock, we have a dock down here. All right, so the merchant did not dock with our dock and trade, at least not that I noticed. If we look at the log, it would tell us, oh, it did, down there, you see it here, we got 25 gold dollars or whatever for that trade, so that's cool. We'll go ahead and build another trawler. Don't forget to lift the anchor if you want it to move around. Pretty soon we're gonna build a PT boat. I'll go ahead and do that now. A PT boat is a defense or attack, patrol, torpedo boat. It doesn't do any fishing. It just tries to protect trawlers and merchants and attack pirates. And now look, we have a pirate up there. In the upper east, the northeast up there, everything bad tends to come out of the east. Sorry if you're a Yankees fan, that's just the way the game is designed. The good stuff comes out of the west and the bad stuff comes out of the east. And this PT boat's not going to move unless we lift the anchor, so we'll do that. Get him sort of escorting the merchant ship. Other things we can do for food is, like I said, we can build some animal farms. Animals are more robust and hardy, but they generate a lot less food per acre. They're more expensive as well. So probably the majority of your food production will be crops and trawling for fish. And these little dots here, those represent the fish. The bigger the dot, the more the fish. They kind of oscillate in color. Our population, you see here, we've got a housing problem, so we've got to build another villa. We don't have enough money for it yet. Just need, I think, like one more gold bar. There we go. Build a villa, and then we're going to need, of course, more schools and hospitals. As you get more people, you need more of those public services, and those take costs to run. So at the end of each round, which is 10 ticks of turns, you get a report, and then it doesn't really disclose the difference between your income and your outgo, but you do have costs for a lot of these public things like PT boats and forts and bridges. Forts protect your coastlines against pirates. Pretty much everything around a fort is protected from attack. That kind of gives you an idea. You probably don't want to build right on the coast. That's, automatically gives you a bit of a defense if you can avoid that. But you got to keep building these crops, and it's kind of hard to avoid the coastline there. Now you heard it beep there when I tried to build, I think, on the water here. And if you want to turn that off, just Control A to toggle the audio, the mute, so now we don't get those beeps. One thing you'll see is I can do a fast build here just by holding down the space bar. So C, build crop. If I go right next door here and build another with space bar, it automatically moves. So I just hold down space and it sort of builds out the rest of that row there if you just hold it down. You can do that with any type of item that you can build, like industry here. I'll just hit, space, and I can sort of fill that in. Now, industry just sort of changes the color from the default background to that gray, sort of cementing over the land. But it generates revenue, so you definitely want to have some industry. And did we take out that pirate ship? I see the pirate ship disappeared. The news reports, yep, we sunk it. That's cool. We get some of the money back from what it was carrying, including what it captured, looted, or plundered from sinking of the things. I do call these rules challenging because the food goes down quick, the rebels go up quick. When the rebels go up, they start destroying things, vandalizing things. They can take over your PT boats, turn them into pirates, and just generally cause a lot of mayhem. If it's really bad, you can enact martial law, and then your rebels will start decreasing more rapidly. You won't get any more income during that round. I think it's 3 rounds that martial law stays in effect. So it does cost you quite a bit financially, but you can tamp down that resistance really quick if you use an Iron Fist. Told you about plus and minus to change the speed. You got space to repeat the last build. The last build wasn't successful, then it's not going to try to repeat that. It's the last successful build. And it tells you both on the right sort of legend over here as well as on the build menu what the spacebar is going to rebuild. And if you are a sysop and you're curious and you're creative, you can create your own or modify the maps. These, again, it's randomly generated map, but you could sort of save this map and edit it. There's editing keys. It doesn't work while the game's in action, but or you can just start from scratch and make your own maps. And I hope people do and share them. All right, we need more schooling. I've gotten helpful little alerts that pop up there, so pay attention. Our food production is going down, but we're still decent. The crops you really got to maintain, especially if they're not getting watered with the rain. We see a storm coming through here in the south. Looks like it's headed further south, so I think we're doing okay with that storm, but it'll definitely destroy everything in its path. One thing you want to do is try to expand your land and get more land taxes. We're doing pretty good on revenue, but we want to go ahead and use some of that revenue to expand our land and pull a Trump here and take over Greenland or whatever this is that's adjacent to us. Start filling in probably with crops. I wouldn't put my villas or important infrastructure over here, because if this bridge gets taken out, then you lose access and benefit from all that sort of annexed land. And the bridges do get taken out by mainly storms, but pirates can cause damage as well. But, we want to expand and increase our revenue, so we're going to do that. We're going to build another villa because we're close on the population cap there. Food is going down still. We need more trawlers. I'm going to build a dock over here and a trawler and lift the anchor. And then another, and get them out there fishing. It's pretty hard to sustain on just crops or just fishing or just animal. You really need a mix of those things. Also, it's important to know your industry and your boats are going to contribute to pollution, and your crops are going to tamp it down. The animals as well, they're also big polluters. They like to smoke. We have rebels at 0%, that's good. We're already at round 29. Wow, I must have the clock running fast here. Hit a minus there, slow it down. You get a lot going later in the game. All right, we need that PT boat to attack that pirate. We're losing a lot of crops. I didn't really talk about the legend over here in the upper right, so if I put my cursor over something, or anything that's not a built item, then you just kind of get an overall picture of the number of things you built, the average health of all those things, different items that you can build. And if you put it over a single item, then it highlights that and it tells you the health of that individual item. So this particular villa is at 65%. If you put it over a pirate ship, it tells you how much gold they're carrying. Same with merchants. The fish, it just tells you that there's tons of fish. Doesn't tell you how many fish. More villas, we're getting pretty restricted on. Now, it is a bit of a chase, right? As you grow the population, you have to feed them more, and you have to have more health care and all the other needs, schooling and all that. So the goal is to build a big population, but it definitely gets more and more laborious the bigger the population gets. I'll go ahead and build another villa, and while we're at it, another hospital. Let me see, what do we got? We got one hospital. Yeah, that's good for about 300 people, I think. So you want to add another hospital there, and then, we're going to lose a trawler to that pirate ship, I think. Oh, you got him. Cool. PT boat killed the pirate ship. Sometimes the blinking and indication of who killed who is not really clear. When the trawlers catch fish, The fish usually blink unless the fish are under the trawler, and then the trawler blinks. But they also blink when they get attacked or just get destroyed from damage over time. All right, we need another school. So those helpful indicators, pay attention to those when they pop up, especially anything in red. And we can see rebels are going down, but they're non-zero. Food is going down, but yeah, we need more food. So I'm going to build some more crops and build some animals while I'm at it. Again, sort of paint these squares with the space bar, the quick build out. And then we'll just start doing some annexing of some more lands here, build a bridge, and that gives us ability to build more crops. And it's common to follow the storm as it moves east to west, just build right behind it as it destroys and makes a path through all your carefully built properties. You just sort of repair it right behind it. No pirates, but we do have a merchant ship, a villa, 2, another school. Now we own hospitals. Get into hospitals. We get our biggest reward when that ship makes it all the way, that merchant ship down there in the south makes it all the way to the east coast. So that PT boat is going to try to escort him and protect him. And occasionally they're just not that effective. Now, you do see these waves going across the screen. They're not just for looks. They make the merchant ships run twice as fast, and then it slows down the pirates and they can't attack when they're on a wave. So it's like a current moving west to east, and it's to the benefit of everything else and to the detriment of the pirates. So it temporarily kind of makes the pirates ineffective. And you can see now that PT boat is behind the merchant ship, and it's kind of hard for it to get around it. So if a pirate shows up on the east coast, unless there's the wave there, which there is at the moment, but yeah, it might not be a good outcome for that merchant ship. We'll have to see how that turns out. The PT boat can run, it runs a little bit faster than the merchant, but it has to go around it, and it's not quite that intelligent to actually try to go around it to get ahead of it, to protect it. So in that case, you could build a bridge, got enough money, or sort of overbuilt. If you overbuild and you don't mind the expense, you can delete extra things that you built. And then I can build another dock down here, and I can put another PT boat, lift the anchor, and now it is east of the merchant ship. It should stay east, hopefully, there, and protect it from any pirate that might happen to show up. And now we are, again, low on housing, and we've got a school that's disappearing, so we'll build another school, another house. Oh, look, it ended up behind the merchant again. Seems like it's going to last, especially with that wave there to protect it, so it's probably going to make it all the way. All right, and as long as we got this land, let's go ahead and build some crops. We've got this other bit over here that we haven't annexed, so we'll do that as well. And then we'll just fill this one with industry. That'll give us more income. I haven't seen any complaints about pollution. People start dying from dirty water and dirty air, and then you want to make sure you have a good balance of crops to animals and boats and industry. I'm just going to start filling this up with crops. And I think that, yeah, we're at 3 maximum pirates on this difficulty. It's configurable per rules and difficulty, but the original game, I think it was 2 pirate ships, and they seem to always be on the map. Yeah, and speaking of the original game, it was multiplayer. That was kind of its big thing, really. And this is a single-player game currently. Maybe someday I'll make it multiplayer. I also haven't done any kind of score sharing or reporting or anything with the BBS networks, and I'm sure I'll end up doing that, but right now it's a fun game to play, just have on a BBS and have local scores. At any time you can hit the quit menu and view the high scores. Most of these are just me running through test games, different difficulties and maps. But oh, you see here the storm took out our bridge, and so this right continent here, eastern continent, is now not part of our homeland. So we need to repair that bridge to get it back in our homeland, which allows us to collect the land taxes and the revenue from the crops and the industry, anything else we build there. We have to have that bridge intact. All right, we are again low on housing. So let's build a couple of extra houses there, and then we're doing okay on food. But we always got to be rebuilding these crops, replanting. Like I said, animals, They're more hardy, they last longer, but more expensive, and they're less efficient as far as land use. And they generate pollution. All right, and while everything seems quiet and calm, that's usually when the storm hits. Oh, unhealthy, 13 fatalities, need another hospital. Yeah. Okay, rainfall is good for the crops, damages pretty much everything else, except for the animals. Good for the animals too. Yeah, and you get these weird little islands that aren't connected. Just build a bridge and then you can build there. Need more schooling, there we go. Get back to school, boys. And girls. Those girls are always trouble. All right, let me see. More housing. Trawlers are getting low on quantity and health. Okay. Lift the anchor. That's kind of a newer feature. I forget to do that. Sometimes lift the anchor. If you want them to, sit protected or something, or there's fish right there and you don't want them to go out in harm's way. Another thing is the trawlers and the PT boats cannot go under bridges, but the pirates and the merchants can. So there's no way to keep the pirates and the merchants from going someplace with the bridge, but you can do that to your own boats. And limiting the population growth might be a good strategy, but it's part of the total score at the end. So yeah. If you just want to keep building, and try to maximize your score, then you want the big population. But it ends up being a lot of work. And by the end of the game, you're usually happy it's over. Build this out. You can build bridges on land. Currently, there's really no purpose to it. And we're really getting lucky with the pirate ships here, I must say. Oh, I spoke too soon. Because they can attack land and sea items. They're more effective and destructive to things in the ocean, but or whatever this water is that we're surrounded by. A hospital. And you can protect those with the forts if you want. Oh, that PT boat was very effective, as they are. PT boats are awesome. Just keep rebuilding these crops. Oh, we got a storm coming through. Took out our bridge again. Fix that. And we are low on housing. What else did we get destroyed? Need more schooling. Oh, we are almost done with the game. You can see the whole history of the game in GitLab. It's, of course, open source like everything in Synchronet, and it is a Synchronet-only game in JavaScript, but I hope you Synchronet sysops and users enjoy playing. We can finish this game here, and you quit, and then you can just abandon. You say, I didn't do very well, I don't really care. Or you can finish, and it'll record your score. So it gives you some statistics and a rank and title. They defeated 4 pirates, none of them absconded, which means they escaped all the way to the west, and did a good job there. We didn't lose any PT boats or trawlers, wow. Like I said, we're kind of lucky with the pirates on that one. And a lot of times the map that's generated can help with that as well. And we finished the game with a lot of gold. All right, so yes, I'm working on the next Synchronet release, version 3.21. This is a nice little distraction, helped me also find some bugs and focus on some things that I've long wanted to do. One of them is this feature to view files full screen, be able to scroll around in any text file, seek around, so you just quickly jump. Doesn't matter how big the file is, it shouldn't be a problem. It might take a long time to seek if you hit the end key, seek all the way to the end to like a multi-megabyte file. It might take a little while. Yeah, you can now jump around in files, and I use that for the help file in the game. In other places, like general text files and things like that, where you viewable files, where you want to view files like that in a file base, like the help file here, has up and down scroll. Long overdue, long overdue. All right, so that's my update. I hope you guys enjoy playing the game. I've enjoyed making it. AI helped initially. Gemini was the winner from the sort of little competition I did between the different MLs, and it's free. I just used the free model. It was, pretty cool for a head start, but, of course it can do incremental improvements and suggestions. And boy, it was coming out with suggestions left and right for features, and there were some good ideas. And, some of those I ended up rolling in later, but it was a good inspiration and good head start to the game. And I've enjoyed making it so far. I hope to keep improving upon it. So stay in touch and let me know what your scores are. Hopefully you guys create some maps and stuff. All right, see you.